Hey friends, what's up? How are you guys doing? I know I just posted a video, but since I haven't posted in so long, I'm doing another one to make up for it. And today I'm playing Star Stable online, and I'm doing a little skit where I tame a wild horse. And just telling you, she's not actually a wild horse, I already own her, but it's just a cute little skit. And also, this horse that I'm riding right now is an Irish cob named Foxtrot, and she is my favorite of the 5 horses that I own in Star Stable Online. So yeah, I also have my little dog, Cookie, running beside me. And, okay, so I'm just going down this hill right now. But anyway, so, yes, it's a skit where I tame one of my horses if she was a wild horse. Okay, so let's just jump into the actual video. Okay, so I ride horses, and I've always wanted a horse of my own, and I just came back from one of my lessons to see the horses that are for sale. They're all so pretty. Every Fort Pinta horse that I see is just amazing, and I want all of them, except I can't have any of them. The horses are too expensive for me to get one of my own. Plus, I already have horses at my lessons, right? Anyway, just gonna say hi to all of them. Maybe I could go on a walk, think of another way to be around horses. Everywhere I turn, there's more and more horses. This one is so pretty, but I don't have enough to get it. These ones have amazing manes. Wow. See other people riding horses. Ugh. I just wish I could be like them. I'm gonna go for a jog or a walk or I don't know. Going out onto the Fort Pinta Bridge. Away and away and away from where I live. Just running along the cobblestones, trying to find a good place to take a walk. Oh, another person riding a horse. Wow. I could go on this little nice forest trail. That sounds nice. I'm walking past all of these bits of grass, flowers, tree stumps, looking out over the beach. It's so pretty, and that's why I love Fort Pinta, and for its horses. Everything brings me back to horses. Wait, what's that? Oh, horse? Is that just a wild horse just grazing in this meadow? A wild horse? You've got to be kidding me. Just standing there. Doesn't seem to notice me yet. Weird. Usually all of the wild horses are right outside of the farmhouse area. She definitely sees me, but she's not even running away. Wow, she's so pretty. She's small with a gray body and a gray mane. She's speckled and she has some brown on her face. Her legs are black. Wow. This is the prettiest horse. Even prettier than all of the ones in the Fort Pinta stables. I'm gonna step back a bit. She doesn't seem to care that I'm here. I'll walk up to her. Wow. She might like me? I guess if a wild horse doesn't run away, doesn't that technically mean that it likes you? I tried petting it on the snout, and she didn't mind. She might have actually liked it. After all, she probably doesn't get pet often, being a wild horse. I debated what I should do. Usually there aren't wild horses in this area. I decided to feed her, and she absolutely loved it. She's definitely not used to hay. She's just been eating grass all day. Oops, didn't mean to make that rhyme. Anywho, maybe, I don't know what to do. Then I saw a person walking by on a horse. I fed her some water, and the person was still walking by. Maybe I should adopt her. Does sound like a pretty good idea to me, and hopefully she thinks it's a good idea too. If only horses could understand humans. I got on her back, and she didn't do anything. I got off, because I didn't want to scare her too much by starting to ride. She doesn't even have a saddle, or a bridle, or anything. Maybe this is bonding with a horse? I got on again, and then she bolted. We dashed under a bridge of rocks, running down the hill. I shouted for her to stop, but she wouldn't listen. She seemed like she was having fun. She didn't even seem afraid. We dashed on the rim of the ocean and past the racing championships, jumping over absolutely nothing. We ran through the edge of the ocean again, across the coastline, dashing and dashing towards the bridge up to Fort Pinta. Then we veered on a corner and went under the bridge. We didn't know what was going on or why she was running, but we kept going past all the umbrellas and chairs on the beach and circling back under the bridge. We plowed through bushes and ran across the pathway. I had no idea where she was taking me. I just hoped she didn't take me too far away. We met another person who was riding a horse that looked a lot like her horse, but she just bolted even faster, continuing to run and run and run. Then she slowed a little bit as we turned up a hill on the edge of the Fort Pinta Towers. Then she stopped, going to a walk, and then halted completely. I just sat there for a moment, stunned. Then she started backing up. Clearly, she wasn't a fan of the civilization. She's used to the meadows and fields and forests. And then she started going forward again, and when I ushered her, she bolted once more. Up the human stairs and past a statue. But then, she halted. Oh, we were so close. Then she reared up. That was not a good sign, since I wasn't wearing a bridle. I got off and walked around. I had no idea what to do. I know you're not really supposed to ride wild horses, but she didn't seem to hate it. I don't think she was bolting in fear. I think she might have been bolting in excitement. I stood by her and she didn't run away, which is a very good sign and also kind of weird, but still. I just stood there for a while, contemplating my choices. I could adopt her. I could ask around if she was anybody's horse. I could put her back in the wild, but I chose the first option. I got back on her and started trotting, cantering, galloping. We went so fast, past the fountain, running and running and running, and this time I knew she enjoyed it. We went past other people, other horses, other places, ponies, and then we stopped. Soon we were walking beside two girls with their ponies before she reared. Then I came to the realization that she didn't like other horses or other ponies, or I don't think other people. Then she bolted again, running past stands, away from every person and horse, until she accidentally ran into one of the carts. Then, as fast as she could, bolted away again. She swerved around the area, but every time she went in a direction, there were horses, and she bolted in the opposite direction. She was very clearly a loner. She did not like others of her kind. She slowed to a canter when we came towards the stairs, but then picked up the pace when we began going down. She ran down the hill again, past the ledge, and continued along the bridge, where she ran and ran and ran until she came to a fierce halt at the gate. Then she walked as close as she could to it, but she couldn't go past. She bolted in the other direction, her hooves thumped across the bridge. But then she stopped, circled, and went all the way back. I had no idea what she was doing, but she stopped again at the gate. She clearly wanted to go there, but there was no way. You weren't allowed if the gate was closed. That's the ferry landing. She reared up again. I didn't know what she wanted to do. Maybe she liked swimming? I was very confused, so I got off. I pet her a little bit to try to calm her down. She seemed calm enough. She lowered her head and her ears flopped a little bit. I walked around for a bit. She clearly wasn't startled by me. Must have just been, I don't know, the fence probably? I wasn't sure what to do next. I looked around, trying to figure out something, a way to get her back, since she wouldn't go. I needed to bring her off of this bridge. She can't stay there forever. I got on her again, and of course, she bolted. But this time, I was able to steer her. I turned her away from Fort Pinta so she didn't have to see as many horses. We ran across the cobblestones again and over the dirt. I remembered how much she liked the beach, so I started heading that way. We ran right in between some lawn chairs and accidentally got stuck on them. But then we continued to run. She tried not to run into anything and completely bolted when we saw another person. We kept running past a set of swings and more umbrellas and chairs, through a patch of flowers, and towards a horse trailer? No, we went past the horse trailer. Okay. Then we began to go up the hill. Up and up we went. I was holding on to her mane for dear life. I didn't have a bridle nor a saddle. She ran and completely stopped when we came near the meadow that I found her in. This is the exact place I stopped, pretty much. Well, around there. She walked forward very slowly, and then it came to me. She probably wanted to go back. I just let her walk on for a little bit, seeing where she would take me. I crossed my fingers that she didn't want to leave, but she didn't seem upset that I was riding her, so maybe it's a 50-50 chance. Then she reared up. We got too close to the meadow. She walked forward again. Maybe she was scared of the meadow? She reared up as soon as we encountered a dragonfly. Maybe something had happened in the meadow? Then she ran and reared again, exactly in the spot I found her. She continued walking and stopped. I got off and decided that she probably wanted to stay, so I didn't know what to do. I pet her one last time, and then I just stood there with her for a moment, not wanting to let her go, but I knew it was the right thing. So I ran. I didn't want her to follow me because if she did, she'd probably just change her mind again. And that wouldn't be very fun, letting go a second time, so I continued to run. I ran across the cobblestones, along the beach, and past the starting line again. I continued to run, and run, and run along the beach. I slowed to catch my breath before picking up the pace once again. As I ran, I realized I was getting way farther from the meadow than I was thinking. What if she tried to follow me and encountered another horse and bolted? I don't know. I walked into the horse trailer. The horse trailer where she had almost run into. I asked to be brought got back into Fort Pinta, and soon enough we were already there. When I walked out, I immediately saw horses and the plants that I was used to, people that I've seen 1,000 times. But I didn't see the horse that I had seen in the meadow. Well, of course she couldn't have followed a trailer, so I guess she wouldn't have been here anyway. I had secretly hoped in my mind that she would be there when I came back, but of course not. I walked around, and I was going to go back to the stable, maybe get an extra lesson in, even though I knew it wouldn't be the horse that I thought I had bonded with, which was unfortunate, but wait. What? I saw her standing in front of a car. The horse that I had seen in the meadow. The same horse that I rode, the same horse that bolted, that tried to go over the fence on the ferry dock. The same horse that I thought I had bonded with. And she was right there. She didn't even run when another horse dashed by. I was so excited. I started petting her again, and she seemed really happy. So relaxed, even. I immediately ran over to the horse control manager and told her the whole story. I told her that I wanted to adopt her, and she said that if a wild horse bonds with you, then you bond with the wild horse. So I assumed that meant that I could, and then she clarified. I ran around at my horse, stopping at the stable. I was so excited. I was going to board her at the same stable that I took lessons at. It would be the best. I would get to ride my own horse finally, and maybe I could even take lessons with her. I walked around the stable a little bit, trying to get her used. She reared up a few times, but that was only when we almost walked into one of the stalls. I trotted around a little, seeing how she liked the place, and she didn't seem to mind. I ran to the back. I showed her every wing. I put her in the stall in the very back, just in case, so she didn't get stressed out when she saw the other horses. I tried to get her set up in there. She didn't really know how to get situated in a stall since, she's never been in one. But eventually I got her in a good position. I got off of her and I decided to name her. She was a very sweet horse, but she was also kind of crazy. She followed her own heart. So I decided to name her Angelflame. The sweet part being angel, and flame being the wild part that runs free. Then I decided to give her some horseshoes to protect her feet for when we did all that running along cobblestones. And she didn't seem to mind. I placed a saddle pad on her back, and she didn't mind either. Then I took the risky move with the saddle, which she also didn't seem to mind at first. I waited for a little bit, being sure she liked it. I watched what she was going to do, because you never know when you're putting a saddle on a wild horse. That's not something people do very often. But now she was my horse, an adopted wild mare. I waited for a moment to see what she would do. She didn't seem to mind the saddle. So I decided to get on and see what she did. As soon as I got on, she realized how not used to it she was and immediately reared up. She reared up again and again. I got off immediately, knowing that she wasn't a saddle kind of horse. I've ridden bareback before, so I decided that she would just be my amazing bareback buddy. So I took off the saddle and the saddle pad, and she seemed way, way, way more relaxed. I decided to brush her coat, since she had never been brushed before, and she was very matted from all the sea spray from our rides. Then I picked her hooves, which had a lot of dirt in them from all of the years that she'd been a wild horse. I got on her bareback, and she did not mind at all. She was as fine as always, and of course bolted towards the door, because, enclosed spaces. Soon we were out of the stables and ready for our first official ride. We walked around for a bit, but then I stopped at a store. I decided I was going to get her a bridle so I could legitimately steer her and control her. I looked around. Everything was pretty expensive until I found the essential black English bridle. It was extremely cheap. So I bought the bridle. There was no reason not to. Then it was time to see how she reacted to a bridle. We'd already tried this with a saddle, but maybe a bridle would be different. I put the bridle on, and she didn't seem to go crazy, but that happened the first time anyway. It took a little while for her to realize. I waited for a bit, and she didn't do anything. She just acted as usual. Then I decided to ride. We started at a walk, then trotted and cantered. Holding the reins back made her not bolt as much. Until I didn't, in which case we had fun. Our hair was flying in the wind. We ran back down the hill as usual, and I could actually steer her. I could tell her when to jump, when to turn, when to go faster, slower. I turned her to the other direction in the beach, where we went around some trees, and it was so nice. And there it was, my little skit, which was the story of adopting the wild mare, Angelflame. And yes, I know, she is not my favorite horse of all the ones that I own, but I still love her a lot. It was a really fun skit that I prepared in my mind, and it was really fun to act out in the game. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and the little story, and I'll see you all next time. Okay, bye guys!